Woo!
Woo!
Wine Wednesday! Cheers!
Happy Wine Wednesday, Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, Mira Boucher, everyone across the country. It is Wine Wednesday, Canadian wines. We gonna review. Oh, we're still festive. We are still on the vibe of one of the most amazing party that we've had. So we're still vibrating. We're still like super full of energy from last Saturday, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to share everything about our BC Winery of the Year celebration at Riverstone Estate Winery, and we're going to talk about the wines that we've put together for that celebration pack. We're also going to talk about Black Market Wine Company. We're going to talk about blind tasting and what else? And also some other cool stuff that we've tasted in the last 10, 15 days. So, Mira, how are you doing?
Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Hey, I have to say though, with this new blind tasting thing we're blind tasting Carl every Wednesday live on 3 wines. Okay. He has kicked ass the last few times we've done it. He's very good. It's almost boring to watch because he just gets them pretty quickly. Merlot stumped him there once or twice, but we're back on the bandwagon with the Merlot as well. So yeah, I never have to open wines, right? I'm married to a wine guy, so I mean, he just opens them for me. I just consume the wine. But for these blind tasting things, I have to go in the cellar, find the wine, open the wine. So I just kept myself on the foil of one of the wines. So that gives you a hint. One of them had foil.
Yeah, exactly. At least
one cork, one twist cap. But yeah, we'll see what you think of those 3 wines as well.
I sure will. I sure will. I mean, the nose are pretty interesting. I have a good idea of 2 of the 3. But we'll talk about it a little later. But definitely Mike Laplante, Daryl Hickey, everyone.
Nice to see you guys.
Yeah. Hi, guys. Great to have you on. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, first let's cheer with this pretty amazing rosé sparkling that we have here. A pretty rare wine from Cheers to You, Mira.
Cheers, Carl.
Cheers to you. I mean, I've been sipping on that bubbly for 2 days now. There's still a bit of fizz coming out, but geez, that it's so good. Very, very small batch of Syrah sparkling from the 2023 vintage, and there's only 5 cases of that left. But I give it 90.
Riverstone, right?
Riverstone Winery. Here we go. Here is Ted.
So you gave it how many points?
92 plus.
Nice.
You know, there's nothing more that I enjoy in the rosé, especially sparkling rosé, when you can taste and feel the varietal. You know,
yeah,
I know it's Syrah. It tastes like Syrah. The white pepper at the end of that wine lingers for so long that cannot be anything else than Syrah. So I just love that so much. The bubbly, the creaminess. He did such a great job. I think among the 15 wines we've tasted on last Saturday, if you ask me which one, like obviously we tasted the milestone, so there's a no contest there. The milestone that we tasted showed so well on Saturday. It was absolutely off the chart. It's exactly like the one we had here at home the very first time. Yes. That was velvet in the glass. It was just like bang on, pinpoint exactly. So milestone kind of doesn't count. It's like if you have Cheval Blanc among other wines, I mean, right? But yeah, so Rob just jumping in. The 19 Cornerstone was just so, shine so well on last Saturday. So yes, I'm with you, Rob. The 19 Cornerstone was definitely my number two, and I believe to my opinion, to my taste, my third favorite wine of the whole day was the Syrah Sparkling. Yeah, second
Tracy?
time tasting. I remember tasting that wine for the very first time when we host our people from Ontario when they arrived here on June 15th for the Pan Canadian. Lou Puglisi, Marcel Morgenstern, there was Keith Dyer. We all sat on the patio and we served them lunch. And the funny thing, the guys were telling me all week, and when they arrived, Carl, we want to taste so much Syrah this week. We're coming all the way from Eastern Canada. We want to taste Syrah. So I served them that wine blind, and they were like, "Hey, we said we want Syrah," and I was kind of chuckling because it was that sparkling Syrah, and they fell in love with that wine. So anyway, it's my second time. I tasted for the second time at the event on Saturday, and now this week doing the tasting notes and all that. But 92 plus point. Fuck, I love that wine. It's just so good. Such a good sparkling rosé.
Big shout out to Tracy and Jim who are joining us on YouTube. That is awesome. Great to see you guys.
So yeah. So right back show. Mira, how about if we start by a little recap of the Saturday event? I feel like taking the listener, I feel like taking the listener and taking the members with us in the journey of what we experienced last Saturday, because it was a heck of a day. First and foremost, shout out to the team at Riverstone. Shout out to Noel, the general manager, who absolutely nailed it. I mean, everything was on point. The food was great from the Flambé Catering. I'm going to get back to the food after, food and wine pairing that we've done after the VIP tasting. But shout out to the team, the service staff, the assistant winemaker, Austin, who spent the whole day with us, Ted and Lauren, the owner. Ted and Lauren, the owners, and who spent the whole day with us. The whole team did such an amazing job. Shout out also to Mother Nature, who showed up big time. Mother Nature delivered that last Saturday. It was a
we have Jim, Tracy, Daryl, Sandy. We've got Rob on. Rob wasn't in Niagara for Bachelor, but a lot of you guys, Mike, you were at the one in the Ontario Winery of the Year celebration just a couple weeks ago at Bachelor. The weather there was spectacular too, but a little bit warmer than what we had here. So if you just imagine that kind of weather, but like take it, I don't know, 5 degrees cooler, but still nice. Like,
bright blue sky.
Here, I'm going to share pictures. Look, let's take it from the beginning. So we get there, and the first part of the event was actually a vertical. And look at the attention to detail. Like they had these placemats for us where we could take notes. And what did we do? 3 Merlot vertical and 3 Cornerstone vertical. Plus milestone.
Yeah, right? So we had 7 wines to start. The first flight was 3 Merlots. So we went all the way back to the 2016. We had the 2020, and we also had the 2022 out of the tank, ready for bottling. So we had 3 expressions of that estate Merlot back to 2016, and it was absolutely sensational. That night, that was 2020. Yeah, the 16 Merlot might be number 4 of my top wine of the day. 16 Merlot showed incredible.
I love that Merlot. That was my second favorite after the milestone, and it makes sense because that 15 milestone has a lot of Merlot, I think, right?
Yeah, 45% of the wine is the Merlot. So yeah, you are correct, Mira. So we started with that. So we talk about the 16 vintage, the 20 vintage, and the 22. What to expect from the 22s? Back the last picture was Lorraine, Ted's wife, who owns the winery. Lawrence was part of the whole tasting, having fun with us. It was
She's
such,
so fun.
she's such a blast. I mean, I knew her, I met her before, but I'd never spent a day with her, and she's an absolute riot. There's so much fun with her. Really, really cool.
Yeah, so these were all the wines going back to 2016. And then this is fun. Look at this. She's the best. That's Noelle. She's the general manager. She is so much fun and just probably one of the very best that we've encountered in the industry as far as general managers of wineries. She's just awesome to work with.
She's organized. She's on point. She's on time. She's everything you want as a business partner. I mean, oh my God, everything was so bang on. That's funny because you put me and Thomas Batchelder together and try to get into a structure or a timeline, and we know that the universe is fucked. We know that, right? It ain't gonna happen. Even Mira at her, even Mira at her best, with the biggest whip on the planet, cannot keep a structure. But I had the privilege to do that deal with Ted, who is not as extrovert, let's put it that way, that Thomas, and we had Mira and Noelle both together. So they kept us, Ted and I, into that structure box, and everything was on time to the minute. When we finished, we had until 5:30. And honestly, at 5:30 on the dot, we were done. So kudos to Mira and Noelle to keep us really well organized all day, to keep us on time, on structure. There is a few slip, I mean, through different conversation, but I was just going with the flow. Typical Carl on the mission, typical Carl in the vineyard, but it was pretty much bang on. I like these order sheet. She was so organized.
All right. So they were organized. We got that point for sure.
Yeah.
So much fun. So this is where we started, where the larger group came in. So we had a smaller group come in for the diehards, okay? Those who were there for 4 hours.
I'll be right back.
Early to start the VIP tasting with us. So that was the 3 back vintage and current releases of the Merlot, the vertical of 3 cornerstones. Then we went out onto the crush pad. That's where we are here. We're having 2 of their sparkling bubbles with appetizers that are being passed around, which is so nice by a caterer here. And we did this, you guys. So when we were at the Ontario Winery of the Year celebration with Thomas Batchelder, we took a picture, Carl and I and Thomas, and we made it into a t-shirt. Oh, you can see it there, right? So that t-shirt is going to go to Thomas as a thank you. Some of you guys have ordered it. You can still get a couple copies of this shirt if you want. It's pretty cool on the back. It has all the vineyards that we visited. So it's like a vineyard tour shirt. You know, if you ever go on a concert tour stop, you know, you might get this shirt. Well, you can get the vineyard tour shirt. All right. That was for Thomas Batchelder. So we gave that to the BC Winery of the Year, to Ted Kane. So he's got one. We gave him a bottle of Hank from Batchelder, so he can enjoy the Ontario Winery of the Year wine. We're sending Batchelder a bottle of Riverstone for Thomas and Mary to enjoy the BC Winery of the Year wine in Ontario. So fun cross-pollination. And guess who else was there? Rob, who might still be on the show with us. Rob Hammersley was there. So we gave him one of these Thomas shirts too, because he was the first BC Winery of the Year at Black Market that was voted in by members. So that's the fun thing we did there. And then we walked through the vineyard, which I got to show you and tell you is not the same when the vineyard has died like this. Hey?
It's sure not the same, but it triggers some great conversation, though.
Yeah. But because of
Absolutely.
the deep freeze this last January, a lot of BC vineyards have sadly had to be replanted. So this one has gotten pulled out for replanting, but we had some great chats about what that will look like. Oh, that's cool to see all you guys. I hope there's nothing I'll trip on. Hey, cheers. So you can see in behind, like there's some brown stuff in behind Carl there. That's all the dead vines. Kind of sad.
Yeah. That's the graveyard. The graveyard.
Lots of materials to work with if you want to make a dead grapevine charcuterie boards or something. You got lots of free materials right now. So it was so great to see our members. But here's what I mean. Like, look, on the right side, that's walking through young vines, right? And look at this. Fully grown vines, right?
From 2001, from the 2003 planting. So we're talking 19.
Yeah, then walking through dead vines. Like it's just there's so much life in the vineyard. It made me realize that.
Yeah, there's life, there's energy, there's so much thing to talk about. So yeah. Did you had a chance to look at to talk about the food pairing?
We just started. So that first pairing we had with the bubbly rosé and the rosé, we had like a tuna poke, a tuna.
Yeah, a tuna tataki with the rosé, which was so freaking fantastic. So we had that
soba noodle salad in this little flute that you could slurp down, or you could use a little fork they gave you. It was awesome too with these rosés.
Absolutely. So that part kicked us off pretty good. Well, after that, we had, and every wine that we tasted after the VIP, all of these wines has small bites to go with. And I mentioned that during the day and about the food and wine pairing. Too often, some people try to do too much with the food, and there's too many ingredients in one bite that it's pretty much impossible to pair, and they're calling it a food and wine pairing, and it's impossible to pair because there's 7 or 8 different flavors on it. So, but what we had from Flambé was so bang on. It was simple, but it was pinpoint. I was like 3 ingredients on each bite, 2 different texture, fit perfectly with each and every wine. It was fantastic. Very well done. Very well done.
Home, like how important the food part is. It just takes everything to a whole nother level. It's one thing to taste world-class wines. It's another to get a little bite of something here and there, of food that goes well with it. Note to self, next time, if we ever do a once-in-a-lifetime vineyard tour with Thomas Batchelder, we'll find some world-class chef to make us some little bites, to go with everything. I think that I'm going to convince Carl, because he's always been against that. It's all about the wine, but I think it's important. Yeah, so we kept going with Ted. He's so generous, and there's these 2 lovely dogs. That's Jasper. Now it's Jasper, and I forget the other one's name.
Cody. I think it's Cody.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cody and Jasper. So that's why after the walk, like we went through all the vineyards and we got to the garden, and there was live music at the garden. And that's where we
the gazpacho. What did they pair the gazpacho with, Carl? Do you remember?
I believe that it was the Malbec rosé. I believe.
I think you're right. Yeah, it was the Malbec rosé.
The Malbec rosé.
We had the Splash, which is tiny bit of like sweetness to it. It's a Splash white blend, like a great
Gewürztraminer, Pinot Gris, and Pinot Gris, Gewürz, Sauvignon Blanc, and Viognier. But like I mentioned, and I think everyone.
Huh?
Hey?
What were you gonna say?
I said that I was about to say that I talked to like pretty much all the guests, and that wine turns head because at $22, This is one of the best $22 wine. And I mean, the value on that one, and it's just so well made. And often when you have a wine with the kind of a bigger proportion of Gewürztraminer, the Gewürz take over in terms of flavor profile, and but not with the splash. Everything is so well kept together, and there's no varietal who stick out of the blend. Very, very well made, outstanding $22 wine. So we had, people were really, really impressed with the quality of that white blend. So we had
we paired that with a sort of pate block, right?
That was a pork pate with a little bit of a cranberry jam on the top.
It was very good, very good. There's the little.
Oh no, yeah, there was a pork pate with just sea salt on the top on that one.
It was delicious. It was delicious with that splash. This is what you're talking with the pate with the jam.
Yeah, exactly. That's the liver. That's the liver pate on a crostini. Yeah,
and that was paired with the actual Malbec, not the Malbec Rosé.
You got it. You got it. The brand new 2022 Malbec. Which I just gave it a 92 points. This wine, we've been sipping on that for 2 days now, eh? I mean, how much this wine has opened up in the last 24 hours.
It is lovely. I mean, Malbec in Canada is relatively rare.
It is relatively rare.
And these guys do a great job at it, I would say. We've tasted maybe like 6 Malbecs, like not very many Malbecs from Canada.
Maybe 10, I would say, probably 10. Couple from Siren's Call. We had I know that Painted Rock does one, but very small amount. Mm-hmm. The Silva has some Malbec that he puts in with his Syrah Malbec blend. There's a few here and there, but definitely not a ton.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I love showing these pairings because it was pretty simple. It was just a really nice little baguette piece with some liver pate and some a sort of jam, like a savory jam in the middle. Perfect. A few of those with your glass of Malbec. So nice.
Just to lift up the wine flavors. It was you mentioned absolutely bang on. This is Austin, the assistant winemaker, working the crowd. All afternoon. Austin is really knowledgeable, really, really cool to pick his brain on different stuff. So he's very sharp, really sharp guy.
There's Noel again, the Riverstone general manager, who did an amazing job with our event. And then I had to show you this. Okay, so the guy you saw just a second ago, Aidan, this person right here with the blue shirt, Aidan, is actually also a trained artist. So yes, Carl, what were you saying?
Oh, there was his wife too. His wife jumped in to help. Yeah. His wife. She's not. She sometimes work just for big event at Riverstone, and she was part of the team that day. Yeah.
I went to the bathroom. Okay, this is how you know you're in a great place. You go to the bathroom, and if the bathroom exceeds your expectations, you're like, I knew it. I knew these guys were good. Because when you pay attention to the bathroom, it means you pay attention to all the details. So they sure did. And look what I found in the bathroom. Paintings led by Aidan, who you just saw the picture of there, who is their in-house artist. So they do paint and wine nights. And look at all these nice paintings in the bathroom. It's the best winery bathroom because of this. There's like not just those two. There were probably 15, 20 paintings just all over the shelves in the bathroom. It was really nice. Very impressed with the bathroom, guys. Appreciate it. Good.
There was also live music.
Yes.
Live music. No, that was not me. I was not the live music. Definitely not.
There's Carl singing karaoke.
Yeah, no. I did not. I was just talking a little bit about the wine and thanking people. But yeah, there was Ted and I here But yeah, the lineup, and I think at the end, we tasted for the first time the 2020 Cornerstone, which they were releasing the same weekend. So we're kind of the first one to have a crack at it. The Cornerstone is the flagship wine at Riverstone, always dominant with the two Cabernet. So Cap Franc, Cap Sauv will lead the way, and the Merlot after that, and always finish with a 12% Malbec kind of and 6% Petit Verdot around these proportions. So Cornerstone every year wins, always wins some great national and international award. I have to say that that 2019 is absolutely outstanding, but the 2020 has great stuff to offer. Unfortunately, we brought a bottle of the 2020 Cornerstone with us in Ontario for the party we had at the house, but couldn't enjoy it because there was a little problem with the cork. So now we had the second go at it and did not disappoint. I got a 92 plus points tag on that wine, and the kicker of that feature that we're doing this week now, we have access to the library Cornerstone. So we're doing a mini vertical of the 18, 19, and 20 Cornerstone, which include like the 19s, and the 19 is so freaking amazing at the moment. So 92 points 2018, 94 points 2019, 92 plus 2020, each of the three Cornerstone together in a 3-pack mini vertical. It's part of this week's celebration pack. The one of the two option, the 6-bottle discovery pack include the Splash, include the Syrah Sparkling, the Malbec Rosé, the new release of the 2022 Rosé, the 2020 Merlot, and the 2020 Cornerstone. So that's what's available in this week feature pack. That's the party feature pack and the mini vertical. Also, you can add on the number one wine of the year, the milestone. They have, I think, out of 43 cases, they have maybe 4 cases left. Since the announcement of our number one wine of the year, they went through 2/3 of their inventory. So that's pretty cool that Ted mentioned that since we started to talk about it as the very first one in the country to discover that wine, that the sales have been way up. I like to hear that. I like the
such a small amount made. They don't really need to say anymore.
Exactly. So you can have a bottle or two of the milestone in your order. Something to note as well, there's barely no 2020 Merlot left, 92 plus points, and the Syrah Sparkling Rosé, which there's less than 5 cases. It's the very last chance. After that, they're just gonna keep the few bottles left, the few bottles for the tasting room for the end of the season. But
yeah, you'll notice they have quite a few rosés and rosé sparklings, and that's because of what happened with the deep freeze the previous year. They decided not to make some of their red wines, and they made them into rosés instead. So they don't normally have a Syrah, a rosé of Syrah, right? They usually have a Syrah red, right? But we're lucky this year. They took that phenomenal fruit, and because of the deep freeze, there wasn't that much of it, and they decided to do a rosé instead.
Exactly, because of the 2022, late 2022, that smashed in December after a very hot fall and a very sudden drop in temperature that got create big damage. So the 2023 was damaged, and that's why Riverstone made a ton of rosés that year. But that Syrah rosé is really worth the try. I tell you one thing. So yeah, so that's the little
Yeah.
recap of that event. Tell me, Mira, what is your assessment of that event?
Oh, it was amazing. The feedback I got from our members was awesome. And also, I think for us, Carl and I, the first time that I think we've ever walked into an event where we did nothing to like, we just got everybody to come to the event, but we did nothing in terms of printing off things or setting up the glassware or just nothing. I mean, the Riverstone team was so on it when we got there. Everything was totally taken care of. I mean, I didn't even know the menu before we got there for what we were going to be tasting with the wines. And it was all spot on because we trust them that much that when she said, we've got the menu figured out for the wines, do you want to see it? We were like, you know what? I'm sure it's going to be awesome because they have amazing taste and everything was just so well run. So it was awesome. Speaking of pairings, we missed two at the end there in the garden. So we had that pate on a little baguette with a little jam with the Malbec.
Yeah.
Great. But there was a beef carpaccio, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was sure with the cornerstone. That was the beef carpaccio.
With the cornerstone.
With the cornerstone. With the cornerstone, and it was so good. Holy smoky!
A thin slice or two of beef carpaccio on a thin slice of baguette.
Yeah.
And a little bit of jam. I think there's a little bit of a kind of a savory.
No,
jam.
that was no. That was just a little bit of oil, like a savory oil on the top. It might have been maybe a truffle oil too.
Yeah, it was very nicely done. So
yeah,
there you go. And hey, I gotta show this because afterwards, I mean, that's when I say like we really got to think about the food with these things. I think the Pan Canadian next summer, even though it's a phenomenal tasting all afternoon, is what we're thinking. I think there should be an optional dinner for whoever wants to stay. So we went out for dinner after this impromptu. There we are with Cavell and Dylan having a nice Mexican night in Osoyos. It was definitely worth a drive to that place. Holy smokes, the Mexican there. So good.
And it's always fun when I can order twice. And I ordered 2 full platters of tacos. And yeah, oh man, I doubled it. I was not disappointed. It absolutely hit the spot.
Carl, 6 more wines to taste, 20 minutes. I want to get your take on these blind wines.
Yeah. But I already I tasted through the sparkling rosé. I did the Malbec. I just had a sip of the Cornerstone. These wines have been reviewed. These wines have been reviewed, and I already so. But I just wanted to show you how the Cornerstone 2020 has evolved as well. Now, been open for 72 hours. It absolutely has mellowed down the tannin. It gives me a little bit of an idea how that wine's going to age. First, I know because now, I know Cornerstone for many vintages now. We tasted the 2016. When we were there, we tasted the 2022. We know how well structured these wines are. So that 2020 will age gracefully. I really like that. Great, like I said, great structure. The tannin are right there, but they are not in your face. The acid is beautiful, and I like that kind of the sweet fruit on the edges, who makes it already approachable. So yeah, that's a classic 2020. 20 are kind of approachable earlier than the 19 were. The 19 were a little tight out of the gate because it was a colder vintage. Now 2020 offers a little bit more of opulence, but it's a little bit more friendly out of the gate. And this 2020 definitely shows some friendly delivery. But with not saying without complexity, though, really complex, well layered as well.
Delicious. Even after several days open, these Riverstone wines are phenomenal. Great aging potential, I would say. So.
And the BMS It's for finish. It's for the end. This is the it's the black market, the syndicate
Okay.
2021 that will be featured next week. We're gonna host Rob Hammersley during our live show next week. We're gonna have, for the first time in 2 years, a full lineup of Black Market Wine Company. I already rated 93 points. The syndicate. Side by side with one of the big dog from Niagara with Dobbin Red Blend 2020. This wine completely held his own for 4 days straight. And now still, I had my lid with the air pump, and it's been over a week today that syndicate is open and still shining. So yeah, this is really exciting. But you can see behind me some of the magic bottle from Black Market. So we're gonna have,
They saved some for us. A lot of
yeah,
these are totally sold out. So it's
yeah,
kind
most of it, like
of
half of
chance.
the lineup is all it's sold out wine. The 2022 Pinot Blanc, which was the wine feature at the Pan Canadian this year, which is also the wine that Mira and I picked the grape for, and I always bug Rob and say, yeah, that's my wine. Because we picked a few grapes that year. So the 22 Pinot Blanc is in there, which is completely sold out. The Bacchus 2023 is in there as well. Omerta 23. Uh, Secret Society 2021, which is completely sold out. Their value red, which more and more that the Secret Society is just taking so much of the black market portfolio attention now. Rob, I hit the spot in terms of that value red over delivering. So yeah.
He says you can sign the bottles for that
Yeah,
Pinot Blanc.
yeah.
All right. So speaking
Absolutely.
of white wine, very exciting what we're featuring next week. I love it. And all you who are here, you get the first wind of it, Black Market next week. But yeah, Carl, I have 3 wines
Wait a
in front of
minute,
me.
I want to get through the whole lineup of Black Market. We have
Oh, okay. You got
also
more to say.
the
Okay.
red is the Secret Society 21, but the release of the two big red of the Merlot and the Cabernet Sauvignon single varietals. So that is really cool. I can't wait to taste these two wines. I already said in bonus pick, we're gonna have Nothing to Declare. There's only 3 cases of Nothing to Declare left. So, and they all for us. There's Nothing to Declare. There's the Gewürztraminer orange wine Gewürztraminer, which is almost sold out as well. That they save a few cases for us, and the syndicate. So we'll have, I think, a total of 10 wines available, which 4 or 5 are completely sold out. So really cool. Join us next week for the Black Market feature. Now, I know that Mira is dying to watch me stumble and smash my face.
The orange wine has been sold out since June. It was a delicious orange wine. If you are not normally into orange wine, I bet you will still really like this one.
Oh man, this is an absolute beauty. Like I remember tasting it out of the like just before bottling, and we were like, "Holy smokes!" Like just the complexity of that, and that's one thing with Gewürztraminer. You can do some miracle when you do skin contact wine with Gewürz, and Rob absolutely nailed it. Nailed it. Color, textures, aromas, flavors, everything is in that way. I'm so excited to taste it and to review it full in the next couple of days, and so you guys can taste it as well. I can't wait. This is very exciting wine. Even if I'm not a orange wine fanatic, I love a good geeky wine once in a while, and this one absolutely hit the spot. So yeah. Now let's get in the 1, 2, 3 wines that I have here in front of me.
Rapid
Okay.
blind tasting on Carl. If you're listening, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, you guys can feel free to type in what you think, right? Based on what Carl says. I'll try not to give it away this time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and let's remind people what's the ultimate goal of that. Why we're doing that? Is it to make me look stupid? Maybe a little
No.
bit, maybe just a bit, right? But that's okay. It's about humility, right? I try to be humble. Sometimes I leave over my head, so it's a way for Mira to bring me back down to earth and say, "You're not that fucking good, Carl." So no,
You're really
no. That's not the point.
It's just interesting to hear your thought process on these wines, and you don't know anything about them, where they're from, what varietal, what's going on, and let's see what you think of them.
So the only thing that I know, it's this come from the 500 bottles that we have here. So that's the only thing I know. I know which wine we have in the house, but that's the only thing I know. So I know one other thing is at least one of them comes from a cork, because Mira cut her finger with the foil. And it tells me that it's not from a screw cap. But there's another reason why. There's another reason why I know that it's from a cork, because the wine number 2 is slightly corked.
Oh, really?
So I know that wine number 2 is coming from a bottle with a cork.
Okay.
Very good. So that I can tell you, there's a slight cork taint on that wine.
Good to know.
I believe that there's some Chardonnay behind that little slight cork nose. So that's my assessment.
I'm going out of order, and I only have one glass. So let's start with your number 1.
Oh, my okay. So
I only have number 1 in my glass.
Okay.
I have the number 1 in my glass, then I'll pour it out. I'll get number 2.
Okay.
So what do you think of number 1? Clearly a white wine.
Yes, white wine. So the color is kind of the yellowish. Ooh, it's not golden, but a fairly good color. A very fresh nose. What makes me think of a young wine? I'm thinking of Pinot Gris for the number 1. Yeah, number 1, I would say I got that peachy nose, like that fruit salad kind of. The palate is a little round, fruity. So I'm thinking Pinot Gris.
You're kind of close. Give it another sniffy sniff.
At the beginning, I was thinking maybe a little bit of Sauvignon Blanc, but and if it's okay, there's might be another thing here. I talk about that wine a lot, maybe at the beginning. And if it's the splash with the Gewürztraminer, but I know that there's more Gewürz popping out, so
it is not the splash.
No, it's not.
It's not Pinot Gris.
It's
not Pinot Blanc.
So like we said at the beginning, the goal is not necessarily for me to find out; it's to assess what's in the glass. So I didn't find. To me, I thought it was Pinot Gris. It's not. So that's maybe Viognier. If it's not, I often mix both. But what I have to say, this is you know what? That might be Viognier because there's not a very high acidity level here. The acid is pretty low. So, and there's some white spice in the back. That might be Viognier. But
it's around
It's a round wine. It's a wine that if it's around $25,
Oh, this is always where you stump me. I have
I
no idea.
will. I would say it's a 90 plus points. I like the nose. I'm not going higher than that because I feel like a little bit more acidity would have had a big impact on that wine. So I love the nose.
So I got to tell you, it's a 2021. Okay. What did you say price point you'd be happy about?
$25.
Tax in?
Well, no, now you're splitting hair. Okay, we're doing blind taste here.
All right. So it is $16.95 including tax.
Holy jeezy moly. Wow. Okay.
Including tax will probably give away the fact that it's from Ontario.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, this is very interesting.
So
Yeah.
your 90 plus points might go maybe 91 is my
Yeah,
guess.
no, not that much. Not that much. I'm not there. There's definitely a little lack of acidity.
Well, it is
So
2021. Keep in mind for a
yeah,
16.95 wine. So it
yeah,
might have lost that in the last few years.
yeah. I mean, may have lost this edge by then. So yeah,
But still a very enjoyable one. You
it
ready
is.
for
It
it?
is a very enjoyable wine.
Are you ready?
Yeah, please.
It is
It's
The
the
Soldier's Wife by Sauvignon Blanc
yeah,
by
yeah.
Speck
That's
Brothers.
Henry of Pelham.
Henry of Pelham. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So this
Jeez.
is what it says, why it's called A Soldier's Wife. Are you ready? Our
Yeah.
first known male ancestor in Canada fought with Butler's Rangers during the American Rebellion and was both a bugle boy and a translator, being half Iroquois. Heroic as he was, his wife bore 14 children, which is why we honor her with this wine and not him. So it's called The Soldier's Wife. All right. That's
Okay,
fun. It's my favorite varietal. That's why I said to give it a sniffy sniff. It did have, to me, that bit of grassiness on the nose.
yeah.
So blunt.
At the like when you brought them up to me at the very beginning, I almost before we went online, my thought was Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay, and Cabernet Franc. And so that was my thought of the
Well, you
three.
said it after you said Pinot Blanc. You said, well, at first I thought it was Sauvignon Blanc. So
Yeah. That was my very first thought. And
Right.
but the thing is, there was no acid, so now I should have stick with it because the when I tasted it, I was like, there's no acid. It can't be Sauvignon Blanc. So the second one, I think, is there's a bit of cork taint in it. So
it's a white wine under cork. This is a wild card. This is not Canadian. We only have like 5 bottles or something that are not Canadian in our cellar right now. It's not
okay,
Canadian.
but so what I say, I think that it's like at the beginning, it's Chardonnay behind a cork taint.
Okay. So tell me more about it. Is there anything else you want to say, or is it just it's a little too corked?
I didn't put it in my mouth because it's corked. So
Okay. You want to know?
Please. Yeah, go ahead.
Here's the wild card. Okay. So back in the day when Carl was very young, he got very inspired to be, in the wine industry by someone.
I know where you're going.
Gary V. Okay. He was the first YouTuber that talked about wine back in like 2001 or something when YouTube first started. And his dad had a liquor store in New York called the Wine Library that no one knew about. And he grew that liquor store to be one of the biggest in the state through his YouTube channel, being the first guy talking about wine on YouTube. And he was just very straightforward. He would spit into what, a Rangers helmet or something.
No, the New York Jets. He's a big fan. He now owns the the New York Jets, the national
He now
football
owns the
team.
Jets.
At the beginning, he's always been a big fan. So he will start at the beginning. He was tasting wines like $50 wine and more. The show grew and the show grew and the show grew. He was tasting all of the top premium wine from California. And his spit bucket always been a New York New York Jets football helmet. And straightforward, but the way that he was always describing wine is something that I could relate to. It was not the pretentious sommelier type of description. And I really loved. He was my inspiration for many, many years. So Vaynerchuk was the first one to start a virtual.
Started his own virtual label with some of the people he knew in Napa Valley winemakers.
Well, this brand is not Napa Valley. I believe it's California.
You're right. So it's California. This one it's bottled in Napa, but it's California. And that was his first vintage, I think, 2018. Yeah. So what happened is in 2020, he sold it for, I don't know, 60 million after 2 years, 60 million US or so to Constellation Brands. Because I think they shot up to about 15 or 20,000 cases per year sold directly to the consumer. That's the thing, is that he never had any kind of retail stores or anything involved. It was just go to our website and buy this wine. So he had an Empathy Red, he had an Empathy White,
and the Empathy Rosé.
And a rosé. Yeah. And we bought his first, I'm pretty sure it was his first vintage back in the day.
First ever. Yeah, absolutely.
And we tasted the red just out of curiosity, and we've never tasted the white. So this was the white, but it's too bad it's a bit corked.
Yeah, it is. And I'm sure there's Chardonnay in there. So,
yeah, it does smell like there would be. I'm going to taste it. I don't care if it's a little corked. I'll tell you.
I did taste it. The cork is not overpowering on the palate. You can still taste it. But what you can notice, it's the heavy, big, and bold, buttery California style white. Like this is, if you have blind taste, if I had tasted it and you say, Carl, where is that coming from? I would have no clue. Like, fuck, you had me really, really bad on that. So
there you go. Fun day, fun day. Okay, last one. I felt like we talked so much about BC wine so far. So this last one is your only hint I'll give you. It's a red, and it's from Ontario.
I think this is Cabernet Franc.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay, guess again. Tell us about the wine. Tell us what you think about it. Stop trying to...
It's bright. It's all red fruit. It's crisp. It's crunchy.
I get a little bit of.
It doesn't have a
spice on it.
Yeah, crisp spice on the finish. This is a very enjoyable wine. Very, very enjoyable. There's some cocoa in this, like mocha-like, a little bit of tobacco. I really enjoyed the nose. So you said it's no Cab Franc at all? Because there's no, geez, okay.
No, I mean, unless they put a splash in it without saying. I agree with you. It is very enjoyable.
Super enjoyable. Not a very long finish, not a very full mid palate, but decent texture. So again, I would probably guess I would say probably $28, maybe. If it's 28, I like where we're going with that. The Cab Sauv. What is that?
I know what you mean. Like, it is very deep and like.
I can't be Cab Sauv. It's too red for a Cab Sauv, but sometimes cold vintage Ontario Cab gives you that. But the color is too red to be Cab Sauv, so it can be.
I
So
mean, it's a
now,
very interesting color for what it is. That's
so
for sure.
it's probably Gamay, and now I don't know. I have no fucking clue. But if it's
Okay. Well, stop
if it's
trying to guess the varietal.
if it's $28, I would say probably if it's $28, I give that wine a 91 points.
Yeah, so it's not 28. It's more than that. It's 40, including tax.
Ooh, okay.
It won double gold at the All Canadians.
Mm.
And do you know what it is?
I will have to tell you, but before that, to look like a guy who knows.
I know you're saying, okay, it's like too bright to be what are these other wines you talking about? But it's a Malbec. So we were talking about BC Malbec, and like I have one here. I think this is the Malbec here, right?
Huh. That's too funny because when you put them up, I smell it beside the other one.
They're very different, the BC one and this Ontario.
Yeah, that was my first up because I brought them all back from Riverstone and I was like, no. This is the Lakeview Cellar. Okay.
2019 Malbec from Niagara.
Rob, I'll bring it with me tomorrow when I meet you, or if we see each other, I will pump it up tonight and let's taste it again tomorrow. I mean, this is a very enjoyable wine. This is really, really enjoyable. And you remember when I said it's crunchy, it's like red fruit crunchy. I didn't have that floral though, the floral component that Malbec brings me. I thought it was Cap Franc on the nose and was not even close.
And I agree with you. It's a little bit misleading on the nose that way. But yeah, super interesting, right? And now we have two Malbecs open, one from BC, one from Ontario. I can tell you the Riverstone one has way more floral. There's so much more like violet and just like nice, pretty flower on the nose.
So we're talking two wines, the same price point. Okay, the Riverstone is $2 less. Yeah, and I get it, Rob. I know what you mean, but this like the Riverstone one is like you look at it, you see the purple rim. Here you don't. It's red. It doesn't have that purple. It just doesn't have it.
Yeah, but it is much more like a brighter kind of red than you would expect from like like you said, or a Cap Franc. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I was so if I would say, to my opinion, the Riverstone has much more depth, has much more Malbec characteristic than the Lakeview, definitely.
Tracy's saying it's young. What the 19 Lakeview?
It's 19 or 20? It's the 19 vintage.
It's 19.
Okay, yeah.
19 was a bit cooler too, right? I don't know.
Ontario, yeah, it was not. It was wet and cool. Like 19 was good for Chard, very good for Chard. Maybe a little bit of like good for Pinot when you harvest early. So yeah, when I said 91 points from the wine from $28 at $40, I'm definitely not there. If I have to compare, I would say much more grape typicity. It's very much more typical of Malbec, what I'm having with Riverstone, and it's a much superior wine overall.
So it's interesting because Rob's commenting from Black Market. He's commenting that he got blinded on a Cab Sauv, Cap Franc, and Malbec, and he could pick out the Malbec on color. I agree. There's that purpley color you only get with Malbec. I'm just putting the Black Market Syndicate next to this Malbec we just tasted from Ontario. And what I can tell you is they're very similar. There's just sort of like a pinkier hue to the
Syndicate?
Malbec.
No, I would completely
But
disagree.
if you hold them up, like the
The black market syndicate, it's dark. Like it's
yeah,
opaque.
but if you hold them up over a white piece of paper, like I am right now, the syndicate is dark. But if you look at the rim, it's got sort of like a dark red hue. And if you look at the rim of the Lakeview Cellars Malbec, also a reddish hue. So it's much more similar in color to the syndicate than it is to the Riverstone Malbec, which is interesting. Anyway. Oh, Tracy maybe knows a little bit about Lakeview, and she's saying those Malbec vines might be young. So that's interesting to know too. Like, yeah, very enjoyable wine. Super cool.
Yeah.
There you have it. Carl's 3 blind wines and
So what?
like a bajillion other ones.
Yeah, one of 2, one of 3.
Well, I'm not counting. I'm not keeping score. It's just interesting. It's just
Yeah, I know it is. It is very interesting. So I just had another sip of the syndicate. Oh my God! Holy smoke!
It's opening up.
It's still like for over a
The
week.
nose is really opening up.
Oh no! It's not only the nose; it's the profile. It's the back end. The Petit Verdot was just like exploding. Yeah. Wow. Absolutely spectacular. Absolutely
Really cool.
spectacular. Cannot wait to talk about that wine next week. But this is Riverstone Week. It's the festivity of the celebration of our BC Winery of the Year. We have 6 bottle discovery pack for $192, including the Syrah Sparkling, a Malbec Rosé, a Malbec New Release, the Cornerstone, and the Merlot.
That's
Also,
including tax. Yes.
and we also have a 3 years of a mini vertical of Cornerstone, their flagship wine, 92, 94, and 92 plus. That 2019 Cornerstone is a showstopper. Oh my God. So yeah, that's what we have for you. I have to hit the road to go pick up our oldest son at school. But yeah.
It's been great chatting with you guys. Hope you have a wonderful night. Happy Wine Wednesday and cheers. We are, just as an aside, about to start filming for our TV series, doing 8 different communities that grow wine in the Okanagan, everything from small places like Kaleden outside of Penticton to the Naramata Bench, all the way down to Oliver, the wine growing capital of Canada, they call it, the grape capital of Canada, wine capital. It's on their sign as you drive into the town. Anyway, we're going to do a little episode on each one. It's going to be aired on TELUS Optic TV, which is really cool. So yeah, that's what's new in our world. And we will see you guys very soon. Check out Riverstone this week. Starting Monday next week, we've got Black Market Wine Company available to members.
Thank you, Mira.
When Daryl's asking, when is DQ shipping? Domaine Kalis.
Dairy Queen.
Domaine Kalis, I think
We'll ship on Monday, probably.
Yeah, so depending on where you're located, but they're shipping very soon for that.
Yeah.
You should have it by Thanksgiving, Daryl. All right. Well, hope you guys have a wonderful day. Wonderful Wine Wednesday. Cheers.
All right, Mira, thank you very much. Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members. See you next week.